Walk into an all-you-can-eat buffet on a Friday night, and it looks like a scene of absolute financial chaos. You see a guy stacking his third plate with snow crab legs, roast beef, and pizza, smirking like he just figured out a cheat code to beat the system. You watch a family of 5 pile 3 trays high with fried shrimp, and you naturally think to yourself, how on earth is this place staying in business? To the average person, letting hundreds of hungry people eat unlimited food for $25 a head looks like financial suicide. It feels like the owner is standing by the kitchen door, watching their profits get devoured one plate at a time. Here's the trap. You are looking at the visual illusion that lies to you most. The truth is that an all-you-can-eat buffet is not really in the business of selling food. It is a precision-engineered factory designed to manage human behavior, floor space, and time. The moment you understand that difference, the entire illusion collapses, and the real economic engine reveals itself. Most people assume the biggest expense of running a restaurant is the food on your plate. If a customer pays $25 and eats $40 worth of ribeye, the restaurant goes broke, right? But the real monster hiding in the kitchen isn't the guy eating 6 plates of meat. It's the invisible stack of bills that hit the bank account before a single burner is turned on. Before you can feed your first customer, you have to secure a massive commercial space. A standard sit-down restaurant might need 3,000 square feet. A profitable buffet needs 6,000 to 10,000 square feet just to hold the seating volume required to make the math work. That giant footprint locks you into a massive monthly lease that remains identical whether 10 people walk through the door or 10,000. And then there's the part almost nobody budgets for: heat and humidity. Keeping dozens of giant metal steam tables piping hot for 12 hours straight requires an absurd amount of electricity and gas. At the same time, you have to run industrial-grade cooling systems powerful enough to pump fresh, cool air over hundreds of warm human bodies while counteracting the heat radiating from the kitchen. Your monthly utility bill alone can easily hit $5,000 a month. Add in commercial liability insurance, municipal health licenses, and constant equipment maintenance, and you are staring at tens of thousands of dollars in fixed monthly overhead before you buy a single pound of chicken. So how do you cover that mountain of expense? You do it by running a high-speed assembly line. Take a single customer. Let's call him Dave. Dave pays $25 at the register. The buffet doesn't care if Dave eats $30 worth of food or $5 worth of food. What the buffet actually cares about is how long Dave sits in that booth. If Dave stays for 2 hours slowly picking at dessert, he is blocking that table from generating more revenue. If Dave eats in 30 minutes and leaves, he just freed up that seat for another $25 bill. The entire profit model rests on a simple statistical bet that the average cost of food across thousands of Daves will stay well below 30% of the ticket price, while the speed of table turnover stays blisteringly fast. But there is a catch that destroys amateur buffet owners before they even complete their first year in business. It's the silent operational landmine hiding in the steam pans at closing time, the massive pile of expensive food that gets cooked, displayed, and thrown directly into the garbage without ever touching a plate. Walk into any high-volume buffet, grab a tray, and pay close attention to the floor plan. If you think the layout was designed by an architect just trying to make the space look nice, you've already fallen for the trap. The floor plan of a buffet is a psychological obstacle course, engineered down to the millimeter to guide your eyeballs, manipulate your stomach, and protect the restaurant's profit margins. It all begins before you even touch a single serving spoon. Look at the plate in your hands. A standard home dinner plate is 12 inches across. A buffet plate? Usually 9 or 10 inches, with a wide, decorative rim that makes the actual eating surface even smaller. By giving you a smaller plate, the restaurant tricks your brain into thinking you've stacked a mountain of food, while physically capping how much you can carry back to your table in a single trip. More trips back and forth mean you eat slower, and eating slower gives your brain time to realize your stomach is full. Now, trace the physical path of the food line itself. The first 10 feet of any buffet line are almost always stocked with what insiders call the golden carbs. You see massive, steaming pans of buttery mashed potatoes, heavy egg noodles, fried rice, thick biscuits, and creamy mac and cheese. There's a very simple economic reason for this layout. Carbs are extraordinarily cheap to produce, heavy in the stomach, and fast at shutting down hunger signals. When our friend Dave steps up to the line with an empty stomach, his primal instincts are screaming for immediate satisfaction. He sees a massive pile of glistening chow mein and scoops 3 huge helpings onto his plate. In 2 seconds flat, Dave has filled over half his available plate real estate with 15 cents worth of wheat and starch. By the time Dave actually reaches the back of the line, where the expensive proteins live, he literally doesn't have room left on his plate for more than 1 or 2 pieces of chicken or beef. And then there's the part almost nobody notices until it's pointed out to them, the subtle weaponization of serving utensils. If you want a scoop of rice or mashed potatoes, the buffet gives you a giant deep dish ladle that can dump half a pound of food onto your plate in a single motion. But when you finally reach the premium items, like garlic butter shrimp or crab legs, the tools suddenly change. The massive ladles disappear. In their place, you find small, slippery metal tongs that make it frustratingly difficult to pick up more than 2 or 3 pieces at a time. For the absolute highest cost items, like prime rib or roast beef, the buffet removes self-service entirely. They place a human worker in a white chef coat behind a glass carving station. That chef isn't just standing there to look fancy. They are there to create social friction. When a real human hand carves your portion and hands it to you, a psychological boundary is set. Most people feel too self-conscious to look a stranger in the eye and demand 5 thick slabs of meat, so they politely accept their 2 paper-thin slices and move along. Even the beverage station is dialed into this architecture. Your server brings you an oversized glass packed with ice and fills it to the brim with sweet, carbonated soda. The syrups cost the restaurant pennies, but the liquid volume and high sugar content act as an immediate appetite suppressant, blunting your hunger right before you head back for plate number 2. Every single element, from the size of the tongs to the width of the plates, creates an invisible system of friction. It subtly encourages you to load up on pennies worth of starch while making it mildly inconvenient or socially awkward to load up on dollars worth of protein. Through this visual map, the buffet successfully keeps its total raw ingredient costs under control across hundreds of diners every night. But what happens when the math gets tested by extreme outliers? What happens when a heavy eater who avoids the carbs entirely goes head-to-head with a light eater who only touches the salad bar? To understand how an all-you-can-eat buffet survives, we have to look at 2 specific human beings sitting at adjacent booths. Meet Member A. We'll call him the glutton. Member A walked into the building with a very clear mission: to extract maximum monetary value from the register. He bypasses the bread rolls, ignores the salad bar entirely, and heads straight for the snow crab legs, carved roast beef, and jumbo tiger shrimp. Over the course of a 45-minute marathon session, Member A downs 4 overflowing plates of pure, expensive protein. Now let's slow down and do the actual math on Member A. He paid $25 for his entry ticket at the front counter. The wholesale cost of the raw ingredients sitting in his stomach comes out to $14. On paper, this individual transaction looks like an absolute disaster for the restaurant. After subtracting $14 of raw food from his $25 ticket, the raw profit disappears. The buffet is left with just $11 of cash. That remaining $11 isn't anywhere near enough to cover his share of rent, high-powered electricity bills, industrial air conditioning, and kitchen staff wages. If every single customer walked in looking like Member A, this business would be bankrupt by Tuesday morning. And then there's the secret balancing force that keeps the doors open: Member B. Sitting in the booth right next to Member A is Member B. We'll call her the casual diner. Member B also paid $25 to walk through the front door. But Member B's plate tells an entirely different financial story. She grabs a small bowl of chicken noodle soup and a side salad with ranch dressing, plus 2 warm buttered rolls and a small slice of chocolate cake. Let's look at the actual wholesale cost of Member B's dinner. The raw cost of the ingredients sitting on her plate adds up to exactly $2.50. Out of her $25 entry fee, the buffet spends $2.50 on food. That leaves $22.50 sitting safely in the register. Member B didn't just pay for her own light dinner. She quietly subsidized the guy eating crab legs across the aisle without even realizing it. Now, let's zoom out and look at what happens when you pair them together at the register. Combined, Member A and Member B paid $50 in total ticket sales. The wholesale food cost for both of their plates combined came out to $16.50. That means the overall food cost percentage across those 2 tables sits at 33%. That leaves $33.50 of gross margin behind to pay down the fixed bills. And the reality of human dining behavior gets even better for the owner. In the real world, for every single member A ready-to-eat premium seafood, there are typically 3 or 4 member Bs right behind him. You have parents barely picking at pizza while watching their toddlers, office workers stopping in for a quick 15-minute soup and salad lunch, and casual diners who get full after a single plate of pasta. When you run those numbers across 800 customers a night, the extreme outliers get completely swallowed up by the law of averages. The guy eating 6 plates of crab legs makes a dramatic story, but financially, he is just a tiny bump in a massive statistical wave. His $14 plate gets instantly smoothed out by hundreds of everyday diners. When 300 people consume 40 cents worth of fried rice and soft-serve ice cream, the balance resets. The entire business model relies on this hidden equilibrium. The buffet does not need to stop the glutton from eating. It simply needs enough light diners to drown out the noise of his appetite. But maintaining that delicate balance on paper is only half the battle. What happens when the physical machine itself starts grinding under the pressure of real-world operations? While human psychology and statistical averages balance out the dining room on paper, running the actual kitchen carrying that food is like walking through a financial minefield. A traditional restaurant cooks meals to order, meaning every steak or pasta dish is tied directly to a paying customer. An all-you-can-eat buffet operates on the complete opposite premise. You have to cook massive mountains of fresh food in advance and pray that enough people walk through the door to eat it before it spoils. And then there's the ugly daily tax that every buffet owner pays before a single customer complains: food that dies under the heat lamps. Health safety regulations dictate that cooked food sitting on a steam table can only remain there for a strict window of time, usually around 2 hours, before it legally becomes biohazardous waste. Picture a chef filling a fresh, giant steam pan with grilled salmon worth $80 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If foot traffic suddenly slows down between 2 and 4 in the afternoon, that entire pan of salmon cannot be saved for dinner. It gets scraped directly into a trash bag. That is $80 of pure cash dumped into the alleyway dumpster, happening multiple times a day across dozens of different dishes. If you think managing food waste is tricky, wait until the global market decides to double the price of your star menu item. A standard sit-down restaurant has a very easy defense against rising food costs. If the wholesale price of beef jumps by 30%, the manager simply edits the menu and raises the price of the ribeye steak by $4. But a buffet doesn't sell individual items. It sells a single, flat promise at the front door. If an owner raises the entry price from $25 to $35 overnight to cover a temporary spike in beef prices, customers revolt and walk over to the competitor across the street. The buffet is forced to swallow those massive price spikes out of its own pocket, watching its thin profit margins instantly evaporate while the price on the front sign stays frozen. Then comes the silent threat that keeps owners awake at 3 in the morning, maintaining a massive open food environment under microscopic regulatory scrutiny. In a traditional restaurant, food stays behind kitchen doors until a trained worker carries it to your table. In a buffet, hundreds of untrained strangers walk past exposed food all day long. Children reach under the glass sneeze guards with unwashed hands, adults drop serving spoons directly into the gravy, and food particles land on the floor continuously. To keep the health department from shutting the doors down, a buffet must employ dedicated floor attendants whose only job is to constantly wipe down surfaces, sanitize utensils, and check food temperatures every 15 minutes. A single health code violation or a single rumor of foodborne illness on local social media can destroy a buffet's reputation beyond repair in less than 24 hours. And right when you think you've managed the food, the building itself hits you with a bill that feels like a complete misprint. Consider the sheer mechanical strain required to clean up after 800 diners every night. The dishwashing operation in a high-volume buffet is an industrial factory in its own right, running continuous high-temperature sanitation cycles that wash up to 10,000 plates, bowls, and glasses every single day. The water bill alone can shock a first-time owner. Combine that with massive walk-in freezers holding tens of thousands of dollars in perishable inventory. If a commercial freezer compressor dies on a hot Saturday night, you aren't just facing a $3,000 emergency repair bill. You are staring at $20,000 of ruined meat rotting before sunrise. These hidden operational landmines stack up relentlessly every single week. It raises an uncomfortable question. After fighting through food waste, price spikes, health codes, and massive utility bills, what does the actual money look like at the end of the year? When you stack up the massive leases, industrial utility bills, and food waste, and an endless mountain of dirty dishes, you start to realize something crucial. The all-you-can-eat buffet is not a laid-back local eatery. It is a high-volume assembly line where stopping the flow of human traffic for even a few days can trigger complete financial collapse. So, let's strip away the steam tables and do the actual math to see what an owner takes home at the end of the year. Imagine a mid-sized buffet sitting in a busy suburban shopping center. Between the commercial lease, utility bills, payroll, and equipment payments, the restaurant faces $60,000 in fixed bills every single month. That is $60,000 that must be paid before buying a single grain of rice or a single pound of beef. Now, remember our ticket price at the front door, $25 per person. After accounting for average food costs across light eaters and heavy gluttons, raw ingredients take up right around 30% of the ticket price. That works out to $7.50 spent on food per plate. That means the restaurant keeps $17.50 from every customer who walks through the door. To pay off that $60,000 stack of monthly bills, the buffet needs roughly 3,400 paying customers every single month just to hit zero. That means the business needs at least 115 people walking through the front door every single day just to keep the lights on. On customer 116, the owner finally makes their first cent of real profit. If that same buffet manages to average 400 customers a day, the annual top-line revenue hits roughly $3.6 million. That sounds like a massive fortune sitting inside a single cash register. But after paying out suppliers, utility companies, landlord, and staff, the net profit margin typically sits between 8 and 12%. On a good year, that solid margin translates to an owner take-home of around $300,000. And here is the trap almost every aspiring owner fails to see. That profit is shockingly fragile. Because those bills stay identical whether 10 people show up or 1,000, a small drop in foot traffic hits like a hammer. A simple 10% drop in daily customers can obliterate half of the owner's personal income in a single month. Think about what happens during a severe winter snowstorm or an unexpected road construction project blocking the main parking lot entrance. Foot traffic dips, but the lease bill does not drop by a single dollar. The giant walk-in freezers keep drawing the exact same amount of electricity. The kitchen staff still needs to be paid to stand by the prep stations. A single slow month can easily burn through $50,000 of cash reserves. In this business, 2 bad months in a row do not just hurt your feelings. They can completely erase an entire year of hard-earned profits. This is why experienced buffet owners monitor table turnover and daily customer counts like air traffic controllers. They aren't worrying about whether one guy ate 4 plates of crab legs. They are staring at the total head count, making sure the human conveyor belt never stops moving. An all-you-can-eat buffet is not a charity for heavy eaters, nor is it a magical cash printing machine. It is a high-stakes game of statistical balance, where cheap carbs, fast table turns, and relentless crowd volume turn a high-risk gamble into a profitable enterprise. The next time you walk into a buffet and grab a plate and look at the line of people around you, remember, you aren't just looking at a room full of dinner. You are looking at a living, breathing financial engine, running at full speed just to stay ahead of the clock.